All right, hello everybody, and welcome to our coverage here on Eyewitness News, streaming live on ABC7 and our free ABC7 Los Angeles app. This is Jory Rand coming to you from our Eyewitness studios in Glendale. We are watching a pursuit happening right now. This is a pursuit that started in Orange County, has made its way north up into the, it looks like San Fernando Valley, up into the Pasadena area. This car being pursued by California Highway Patrol had been traveling on the 210 northbound, has gotten off and is now driving on Tujunga Canyon Boulevard. This is in San Fernando Valley in California, now on a side street looking like it's straddling the double yellow line here, almost veering over into oncoming traffic. But this has been going on for some time. It hasn't exactly been a high-speed pursuit, but still traveling at moderate speeds on local freeways, now on some side streets, as it makes its way here through San Fernando Valley, Tujunga Canyon Boulevard. We thank you for joining us for this coverage, and our coverage will begin on air on ABC7 at the top of the hour, just about 31 minutes. So we're backed up a half hour, so 1 hour from now. So we've got some time here to let this thing breathe here on ABC7.com and our free ABC7 Los Angeles app. Now in the city of Tujunga, you can see that the pursuing officer is not really pushing this thing too hard. It's going at a rather moderate speed. We don't have our sky map technology pulled up right now to see the exact speed, but it looks like a pretty normal speed for this kind of road. 40, 50 miles an hour. I don't think that's right. They were zooming in here. So still taking these curves at 30, 35 miles an hour. Not exactly sure this driver looks like what they are doing. It looks like a Nissan Altima, I believe, that is fleeing these officers. But again, when you see this happen, stop at a traffic light to see what's happening, whether it's a red light or just cars crossing, then we know we're in decent shape. Other cars and pedestrians are not at imminent risk, it looks like, and looked like that SUV officer thought about moving in for a pit maneuver or to try and block this car in as it sat stable at the traffic light for a little longer than we're used to seeing. So here we are back in motion, Foothill Boulevard. I believe this is now going eastbound, but I'll have to check on that. Typically, you can gauge it by the shadows of the sun, but in the middle of the afternoon now, it's a little difficult. Actually, back east on Foothill. Okay. So eastbound on Foothill Boulevard, approaching Lowell Avenue. Still in Tujunga, close call there as a car was turning left across the traffic here. And it looks like that was blowing through a red light, judging by cars in the oncoming direction. So starting to take a few risks that we haven't seen really happen so far. Again, this is a stolen car pursuit that began out of Orange County, has made its way north into LA County, now in Tujunga, and moving, it made its way through Pasadena, took the 210 north, and is now on side streets. Foothill Boulevard straddling the two eastbound lanes of Foothill Boulevard. And as this stretches on here into the afternoon, we want to see it come to a peaceful conclusion, but California Highway Patrol still in pursuit. It is a relatively low-speed pursuit, although things might turn up a notch here as the further we go and this guy realizes he might not be able to get away. Going into a turn lane here. And moderate traffic on the roads. You know, if this had happened a month or two ago, these roads might be virtually empty as we exist here in the pandemic and people have been staying home. But I'd say in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have seen the amount of cars and the volume on roadways pick up quite a bit, slowly through that red light, and several CHP officers trailing behind. So looking to get away, but not desperate to the point that they're putting themselves and others at imminent risk, blowing through red lights. That was a cautious blowing of a red light going through the intersection. And here we go again, another one, another red light, that one a little higher speed, so a little more dangerous and not what we want to see in a situation like this. Still going, is it still eastbound on Foothill Boulevard through Tujunga. Again, we saw one of these pursuits happen last night. Another dangerous blowing through an intersection there. This happened last night as we were going on the air at 11 o'clock, and that carried us through much of our broadcast at 11 o'clock last night. One we don't think, we hope it doesn't last that long here tonight. Oh, close call, another red light. That one could have ended very, very badly. That car was turning left in front of this vehicle and just barely missed contact there at a pretty decent clip. 50 miles an hour would have been significant impact. Hit the green light there as they passed Raymond Avenue back into Pasadena. 60 miles an hour here on Foothill Boulevard is well above the speed limit, but it's not out of control, dangerously fast as we have seen in some of these pursuits. About 60, 65 miles an hour now. And can we back out just a little bit just to see some intersections coming as we approach them? You can see there is a long line of CHP officers in pursuit, and it's the kind of thing when we see these every time this car approaches an intersection, you kind of cringe and hope that they're going to make the light and hope there are no cars making their way through cross traffic, because this could end very, very badly. Picking up speeds again, up over 50 miles an hour, 45, 50. We just saw that car doing about 60 miles an hour a short time ago, just a couple blocks back. Does not want to stop. So bad start to our afternoon here on a Sunday as we look now back into Pasadena, taking Foothill Boulevard. Traffic looks like it is relatively clear. You can see this vehicle passing cars on the left and the right. We've seen him dip into the turn lane occasionally, and even when it was we saw that car on a two-lane road kind of bleeding over into the double yellow line. So not exactly adhering to the rules of the road. And of course, it's almost a moot point when you're talking about a car in pursuit here. But we do want to see this with as few people put at risk as possible. So still hugging to that right lane. I'm sure we're going to see it merge over, that red vehicle getting over. Probably hearing the sirens that are pursuing this vehicle. Alta, is that Alta Cañada? Okay, so we might have an possibility. Yeah, was it? Okay, Alta Cañada. We might have an option of this car getting on the 2 or the 210 as they continue down Foothill Boulevard. It's going to take a turn or two to get back onto a freeway, but we have some time here. Approaching Hill Street, and it should be Verdugo Boulevard coming up at some point, Chevy Chase Drive, and a couple cars getting in the way. Cautiously through these intersections once again. And some of these intersections along Foothill Boulevard have those dips. And so a car driving at higher speeds might have some trouble. We saw this play out a couple weeks ago. Chris Christie was overhead in Air 7 HD, and a car hit a dip, lost control, and slammed into a tree, injuring the driver before they were placed under arrest. And so something to keep in mind as we move forward here. Looks like another red light blown through at Oakwood. You know, high speeds are one thing, but blowing through an intersection with a red light could wind up being catastrophic. You have a side impact of a vehicle unsuspecting going through an intersection. It's almost a worst case scenario here. It looks like another red light going through here at Gould. That car in front of the pursuit vehicle had just turned left onto Foothill, and this car just blew right through another red light. We'll see what we do as we approach. So there's the 210 going beneath the 210 here. Stopping at a red light for the first time I think we've seen since they've made that right turn onto Foothill Boulevard. So it's Foothill and Crown. Continuing to move eastbound. This road is going to dead end here at the Oak Grove Golf Course, and we'll see what happens because this car just crossed beneath the 210, and we're going to have the option to go north or south. If they go south, there's a lot more options. If you go north, more side streets that kind of hug around the golf course. There's a nursery there, a plant nursery left onto Oak Grove Drive. So Here we are going north on Oak Grove. There's not a whole lot that's going to be around these parts. Just side streets and some homes in this area. There's some stables on the far side of the park. Odyssey Charter School is on the far side, and it's going to wind up at the entrance to the Jet Propulsion Lab. So JPL pulling a U-turn here. We'll see what California Highway Patrol tried to cut them off, and this car able to sneak between those two vehicles, and back we go. Wrong side of the road, westbound or southbound now on Oak Grove Drive. We thought it might come to an end there, but this guy was able to elude those officers, and here we go. Continuing on southbound on Oak Grove Drive, and we have a collision here back on Foothill Boulevard. Car looks like it is not going to be able to be driven here. Fumbling around, airbags deployed, windshield wipers on. CHP has pulled up, and we'll see if this driver tries to make an escape. Guns drawn through the passenger side. Looks like we have a passenger and a driver is still inside. Passenger is on the ground. Another CHP officer with guns drawn, and this looks like it is now done. Driver out of the vehicle, giving up. See long hair, it might be a woman or a man with long hair. I believe that is a woman being ordered to the ground. Several officers with their guns drawn, ordering her to get down. It looks like she is cooperating fully. Not a great idea to fix anything on your shirt or your belt if you are in this position. Officers see any reach towards your waistband, and it's not going to be a good situation, but this driver looks like she is complying. Hands locked over her head, legs crossed at the feet, hands now extended out in front of her, and the passenger on the back side of that vehicle 883 is already in custody. Officers not taking any chances with this driver. She is now splayed out on the sidewalk, arms out to her side, and I guess as good an outcome as you can hope for. Hopefully the driver of that other vehicle is not injured, but this car took a pretty big beating. You see the front bumper has almost completely come off of this car. And still the driver was able to get out under her own power. The passenger was able to get out. Do we see the other car involved here? Is that still here, or did they drive off? You can see some debris there in the middle of the road. I don't see the other vehicle. We hope that person is okay. Might have pulled off to the side. Yeah, there they are right there. Have they gotten out of the car? I see the driver door open. It is on, that second car is on Oak Grove Drive. This is happening on just onto the turn onto Foothill Boulevard. They were trying to get back westbound on Foothill, did not have time, weren't able to maneuver that turn, hit another car, disabled their own, and this thing has come to an end. We will have the latest up on Eyewitness News beginning at 4:30 this afternoon. We thank you so much for joining us. Glad to see this worked out relatively well, as good as could hope for in the given situation. You don't want to see a collision, but obviously no pedestrians struck and no major high-speed collisions here.